to Days of the Dead. Thanks to Adolfo, Bill. You guys put on a hell of a show. So without further ado, let's get to the panel. All right, first off, we're going to introduce the lovely Jennifer Jostin. Next, Robert Muse.
Reports of cannibalism.
The building was a scene of ghoulish slaughter.
Alrighty, next we're going to have David Reynolds. All right, next we're going to bring up Erwin Keys. All right, next we're going to bring up Dr. Satan himself, Walter Falon. Next is Mr. Tom Toll. Alrighty, now we have a guy you might know as Captain Spaulding, Mr. Sid Haig. Last but certainly not least, Otis Driftwood, Bill Mosley. Alrighty. First, I was talking to Bill. This should actually be the 13th anniversary of House of a Thousand Corpses, but it is the 10th. Should be, but there was some issues. Bill, go ahead and tell us a little bit about the issues getting it distributed.
Well, no one wanted to distribute it. We actually shot this movie in 2000, and we shot it for Universal. Hey, everybody. How's it going? I want to pitch backwards. We shot it for Universal. We shot it on the back lot of Universal. The House of a Thousand Corpses was actually the chicken ranch from Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. When we shot the movie, the trams kept going by full of tourists, and we'd come out covered with blood and skin and people's faces and wave to the tourists as they went by. But when the movie came out, or when the Universal brass saw a rough cut of the movie, they were mortified. Even though the executives were on the set every day, they saw what we were doing, but they were mortified. In fact, I think that a person in charge of international distribution apparently fainted or had the vapors, whatever that means. She saw it, wasn't it the vapors? And yes, Sid, the vapors.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
What is the vapors?
She was
anyway?
vaporous.
Yeah.
Stacy Snyder, she was the head of production for Universal Studios. And they were doing screenings all over the country and getting great results. Either people loved it or they hated it, which is exactly what you want.
Right.
And she asked Rob if she could come to one of the screenings. And he said, absolutely, of course, we're doing one wherever the hell it was. And so she came, and she was in the audience, and when the film was over, they found her in the lobby, shaking and crying uncontrollably. Somebody had to drag her fat ass home. And the next morning, she called Rob into the office and said, "We cannot release this film."
Now, in all fairness, at the time, you know, in the year 2000, we had Columbine. We had, there was some kind of a Senate hearing about R-rated material being exposed to children or something under 17 or whatever. So there was already, and then there was 9/11.
Yeah, and
So there
but
was-
the thing
there was
is,
this-
you know, they
yeah.
always blame
Horror
a
movies.
film
Yeah.
for bad shit happening in the world. It's like the guys in Cave 27 never beat up the guys in Cave 26 because they were getting more tail. Okay.
And that's a caveman reference, by the way, in case you didn't get that. That was pretty oblique, man.
Yeah, I know.
That was Neolithic.
Didn't want to come out because I see little kids in the audience. I didn't want to say ass. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good of you. We appreciate that.
Don't say ass in front of kids. I mean, that would just be like putting out House of a Thousand Corpses to you know, a poor shuddering audience of Stacy Snyder's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the deal. She just canceled the film. $7 million, okay, down the drain, because she was shaking in control of me. Stupid.
So we wandered in the wilderness for 3 years, and finally, after fits and starts, Rob was about to put the movie out himself. MGM picked us up for about 2 weeks until they got insulted by a comment that Rob made on MTV about them not having any morals versus Universal, and so we just were just, you know, like a kicked dog. And finally, our friend Shayla Johnson, who's
Yeah.
the head of DVD distribution at Lionsgate, saw House of a Thousand Corpses and brought it to the attention of her boss, the great Peter Block at Lionsgate, the head of movie production. He saw it and said, "Holy shit, man, let's put this out."
Yep. And if it wasn't for him, you still wouldn't have seen it, okay? Because people just didn't get it.
Yeah, we'd just be we'd be alive and well in the cutout bin of your local bankrupt Blockbuster.
$5 gets you whatever you want.
We'd,
Speaking of
we'd
like
be
the cutout
sweeping the
bin,
floor in this fucking place instead of sitting at tables.
True.
Yeah.
But speaking of the cutout floor, let's talk about that now.
Yep.
Everybody has heard about possibly a House of Thousand Corpses uncut director's version that has never seen the light of day. Anybody here heard about it, seen anything from it? Erwin, you had something about that, didn't you?
Irwin, yeah.
Okay, unfortunately, I have a couple of scenes that got cut from the movie and that people don't know about. The first scene is Sid hit the panic button. He had a panic button. He hit the panic button, and then it cut to me. I'm in my little hole underneath his estate there, and I come running up to save him. And it was a quick shot, pretty quick shot, and it was shot in this really deep orange red, and Rob was told that they had to cut that out. It was one of those shots that would have taken the movie over to an X rating. So that's the reason he told
Irwin's
me it got
he's
cut.
not including that he had no pants on.
But the thing that really, we were just talking about it backstage, the original ending, there was a different ending than the one that we see, and that's where Sid has this beautiful old milk truck, and he's driving down, he's tooling down the road, and there's the girl running across in front of the truck, and he stops, he picks her up, and she's screaming and yelling and yada yada, and finally Sid says, "Don't worry, honey, I got friends, they got a house right up the road." And then at that second, I popped out of the back of the milk truck, and I grab her by the throat, and I yank her into the back of the milk truck. And I was told that was it. That would have really kicked it over to an X rating. That was it. So they couldn't use it. What can I say?
Jennifer, what do you think
I'm an
about
X-star.
that scene?
That was actually Aaron Daniels, right? That was
Aaron
Aaron.
Daniels.
But the question is, what do you
And
think
where is
about
Aaron Daniels right now?
Sexy.
She's having another child, right?
Did any of you see the completed director's cut? You all saw it or no?
There really is no director's
Okay.
cut. I mean, what happened was that Rob ended up, we was trying to, started editing at Universal.
Okay.
And then once we got booted out of Universal, there was a couple of boxes of footage that then went to MGM. Then they booted us out, and in the process, I think a bunch of things got lost. So actually, there was actually less footage than more, and that's why we ended up shooting. In House of a Thousand Corpses, it's very cool because there's a lot of kind of weird colored footage. There's Run Rabbit Run, for instance. Run Rabbit Run was actually shot, I think, a couple of months after we finished production, just because we needed more stuff because the film was so short because of lost footage.
Right. He ended up filming a lot of stuff at home.
At home, yeah.
Camera, yeah.
Like when I played Ed Gein, I was down in the basement of Rob's house.
Yeah.
We did Run Rabbit Run at Wayne Toth's makeup studio.
That's right, yeah.
Just all kinds of stuff. So, and so it ended up kind of being a patchwork. And I thought it really worked because it's so weird. There's the great skunk ape footage.
Yeah, it becomes like a nice pastiche of just everything kind of melding together, but
really
it doesn't
is.
make any sense with a lot of the extra footage.
Yeah.
But put together, it's a really interesting piece.
I think so.
Now, Drew, you had something, didn't you?
Yeah, horror.
And I got this free T-shirt too.
Now, as House came out, horror was kind of in a pretty shitty place, I think.
That's right.
A lot of remakes and stuff coming out, and we were just kind of all bored with the remakes because the originals are always better. But when House came out, it kind of took it in a new direction, gave all of us something to look forward to, kind of the anti-hero and all your iconic roles. So, in your words, what set House apart in this time of horror, where it was all remakes, and when it came out, what set this movie apart as we're sitting here having a 10th anniversary, as opposed to how the scene was then? Start with Sid.
Well, Jack, goddammit. It was a return to the horror that people really loved, okay? It wasn't anything new or different. It was just going back to the roots of what horror was all about. And that's why it took off so well, because first of all, it wasn't another repeat or a re-imaging. What the hell does that mean? It's just reimagining. Yeah, that's it. It's just another word for stealing, okay? Because the imagination level in Hollywood at this point was like that big, okay? Yeah, that picture made money, and that picture made money, and that picture made money. So let's take all three stories and put them together, and our picture will certainly make money. Yeah, right. So yeah, it wasn't anything really different. It was just getting back to the roots.
Now, what would you guys say? Did you know you were going to be playing the next horror icons, especially Bill? So,
Next horror icon? Jeez, no. I don't even know what an icon is. I think it's actually a religious painting that has actually got some spiritual value. So I don't even know when people mention, horror icon. That would probably be like some kind of painting, right? Anyway, a Russian triptych, yeah. No, I didn't. Actually, it was funny. When I first got, asked to play Otis Driftwood, I really thought that Rob Zombie wanted a kind of a reworked or reimagined Chop Top. And so I showed up when we first started talking about the character. I showed up at his house, and I was kind of like, I ended up kind of like, Little Abner, who's like, is there Grandpappy or something, that kind of little angry little dude with a cloud over his head. I thought that's what he wanted, kind of a little Chop Top, kind of hillbilly Chop Top thing. And God bless Rob, what he saw was, he looked at me and saw a badass in there somewhere. And I never really thought of myself as a badass at all. And my children don't think of me as a badass. But anyway, Rob said, you're a badass. And he basically gently but firmly pried my hands off Chop Top and led me to Otis. And I love being a badass, as it turns out. It's great, being a badass, man. So I certainly had no idea that that's how it was going to work out, but sure glad it did.
Us too.
Yeah.
All right, any of you other guys?
Yeah.
I mean, every one of you have become a costume outside right now. I mean, seriously, it's kind of gross, but I mean, look at the fandom. I know it's going to be small, but stand up real quick. Just take a look. Somebody made him this pin. Right here. Hey, all right. Give him a round of applause.
Beautiful. Great. It's just great.
The fandom that everybody has for this is ridiculously awesome. Kudos to everybody that's a fan because you're the ones that have made it so excellent. So I want to thank you so much.
All right, great. Thank you.
So Jennifer, you had some pretty intense scenes with Bill. How was it prior to the scenes? Are you a complete method actor, sir, or?
Am I?
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what that means.
Because we know there's some, like Kane Hodder, who won't even look at people before shooting a scene with them. So, I mean, with the intensity of the scenes, how was it for you guys prior to them?
Well, I think my favorite part of doing the scene with Bill was that I got to kiss Bill Moseley. That was pretty awesome. No, I mean we had fun leading up to it, and it was we were all good friends on the set, and yeah, it was.
Food was good.
Food was good.
Checks cleared.
Bill was different than Sherry because. Bill, after Bill was mean to me, we would just stop and talk and hang out while they'd reset the cameras and lights and stuff. But Sherry, who plays Baby, was not that way. Maybe she is a method actor, but because she was so upset and was very upset by having to kill me and do all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, she didn't like it, so she was different.
Yeah, Sherry definitely. She doesn't like the bloody scenes. I just did some scenes in Lords of Salem with her. And she's just mortified.
Yeah.
And, it's just Caro syrup and food coloring. And she
keeps saying, can we stop? Can we not do this scene anymore?
which is surprising her husband, because if you go into their house,
Again.
it's just a horror museum. And, of course, Rob looks like he's rolled around in the trash can before he got up every morning. So I don't understand why she doesn't like that.
Sherry was just nervous from the get-go. I mean, when we had the table read at the studio, she was sitting across the table from me, and I could feel the heat coming off of her body. She was just that nervous, okay? And thank God for Karen Black, who kind of took her under her wing and coached her along and made things work for her. But she was extremely nervous.
That was Sherry's first movie.
First movie.
Yeah.
And then when we did Devil's Rejects, she had never been around firearms at all. And in the final scene when we're going to have to shoot out with the cops, I had the shotgun and I blew off the first shot and she just fell into the seat. And I went, holy shit, I killed her. And the sound just got to her. I mean, she couldn't hear for 2 days, okay? So she's extremely sensitive when it comes to the kind of shit that we do. It's like, for us, it's like going to the store and buying a loaf of bread,
That's just visit the Starbucks or something. Do it every day. Now, I did want to check with you though, Robert. As far as the Firefly clan, everybody's kind of, let's put this nicely, batshit fucking crazy. So, I just wanted to check with you, see if Rob gave you any kind of a backstory on him. Is there any reason why RJ is the most sane and most, personable of all the Firefly clan? I mean, he's the one that's actually going out in public, doing the tow driving. Anything about that?
Hi guys, my name is Robert Bukes. I'm an actor.
Give a round of applause.
I think I had less blood stains on my character's wardrobe actually, between these two guys, and no monkey outfits. So I think that's how I was able to penetrate into society and pull it off there.
You were wearing a bear head.
Yeah, you're wearing the bear head.
I inherited that from our grandfather, and so back in the day they used to wear those, and then it kind of blended in, I thought.
But Dave, what about you? I mean, you were wearing some heavy-ass costume. And, it was just, freaking like, oh, well, I'm just gonna rob the shit out of this place.
Well, I mean, we had that little monkey mask sort of thing, you remember? And I think that was, I'm not sure even those were the masks that were originally intended for it. Somebody saw those and thought it was really funny, and so that's what we ended up wearing. There was another scene, by the way, that we shot, Chad and I, the guy who did the opening scene with me, that I don't think was on the DVD, but we were supposed to go back and do the ADR for it, and I guess it was before we had arrived at Captain Spaulding's place, and I think rightly that was taken, it would have taken away from the beginning of the film. But I don't think that ever ended up on the DVD. I've had it, no. So anyway, that's my big claim to fame. I got to do that. Yeah, I'm the first corpse, yes. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Yeah, I'm little Dickwit, that's right.
Rob really didn't know what to expect, and that was one of the first scenes that I shot in the film. And when they came in and said, all right, stick them up, and I went like this, okay, that wasn't in the script.
That was improvised.
That was just, and Rob fell out of his chair. It was like, he ruined the sound, he fucked everything up, we had to do it all over again. But that became my motivation. If I could get him to fall out of his chair, I knew I was on target.
That segues into another good question. Did Rob allow you guys to improv anything? I didn't think I was that funny.
Well, if you were there, you would see the funny part of it, because I don't know, it was like, at one point we just threw the script over our shoulder and said, let's go. Yeah.
But I had the opposite experience. I found that he was very interested in following the script pretty much word for word. So I was on a tighter leash. Although I got to say that Rob really helped me find Otis. At one point, Walton Goggins, who plays the Tommy Tolles deputy, and I come out when they've come to the house, and I come out from behind an old washer in the yard, and I have a gun, say, on your knees, piggy. And I walked out and did that, and then Rob said, yeah, that was good. Let's try it again, and this time scratch your belly as you come out. And I went, okay, I can do that. So I came out and said, on your knees, piggy, and I had the gun in one hand and I scratched my belly, kind of casual. And that was wonderful. I mean, that was not in the script either. And then, of course, I just, thinking about that scene, one of the things that Universal wanted, that they were mortified by when they saw the screening of the rough cut of House of a Thousand Corpses, was the pause as I've got Walton on his knees and they're pulling back, and it's about a good 30 to 40 seconds of silence. And of course, you don't do that in movies. And it was funny because Rob showed me that scene, and then later told me that was like the first thing that Universal wanted to cut out of the movie. And as it turned out, that was really the emotional heart of the movie. So of course they wanted it cut out.
Because they have no heart.
Well, no, that was who was it? Is it not Slim Pickens?
Slim Whitman.
Oh yeah, Slim Whitman. Yes. Well, that stops, and then there is, and especially after Slim Whitman, that silence was something that they wanted cut out because they felt that glorified violence to the police, against the police. Yeah, and of course Rob fought and said no, that's got to stay in, and hence that I think helped us exit Universal. Yeah.
Well, Walter, I did want to check something with you. I mean, you've played how many amazing characters? I mean, you played how many monsters? Where does Dr. Satan rank for you as far as the monsters that you've played?
Obviously, he's the most famous one. So, I mean, I've played 50, 60 different monsters since the early 90s. And that one just stuck. It's such an iconic image. And I kind of came in, I didn't know any of these guys. I mean, the movie was shot, and I think Universal paid for 2 weeks of reshoots to put the whole ending in, which is the professor and the whole Catechisms Underground and Dr. Satan. And so I knew Wayne Toth, who's Rob's main makeup guy, builds all of his stage props and everything. And they were just looking for a skinny guy to play Dr. Satan, and I knew Wayne for years. And so I actually got the job through Wayne. And showed up and shot it in 2 days, and it was all out of focus. And I guess Rob was pissed. Some French focus puller there was not much left. So when you look at it, it's very odd because it's almost like still images, and
yeah, it's kind of slowed down, but it kind of gives it that creepy effect.
It definitely works creepy. Yeah, it's definitely creepy. And then later, like Bill said, Wayne would call me. I think we went 3 or 4 times to Rob's house in LA, and we set up. We did Tiny burning in the bed downstairs. Did the Albert Fish makeup, eating some Campbell soup up in Rob's, living room. And we did that 3 or 4 times. That is some of the most fun I've had making a film, was going to his house and just like guerrilla filmmaking, making sets. And he's got a video camera. Sherry making chicken for lunch. It's great, great. But Dr. Satan...
She could really tear the head right off of it.
Oh, she could, yeah. It's princess.
So she's no good with blood, but tearing chicken heads off is
She
fun.
cooks a good chicken lunch, yeah.
Now, Tom and Sid, you guys have a scene together in Captain Spaulding's place. And I remember watching the behind-the-scenes commentary, and there's a scene where you two guys are right next to each other, and it's 2 horror icons. Henry, The Living Dead, Sid Haig, we could go on. What was that like? How did you guys prep for that scene? And, we just want to know what it was like.
I had no preparation because I'm fucking crazy. But we rehearsed this scene at Universal Studios with Michael
Jackson?
No, Michael. No. Yeah.
Beat it.
The day that the Kentucky Michael J. Pollard, the day of the Kentucky Derby, and the only thing that Michael J. Pollard wanted to do was go home and watch the Kentucky Derby. Okay.
And smoke a do.
And smoke a do. Yeah.
Is that a technical
or
term?
in whatever order. But we did do a little rehearsing of that scene, but he works organically, I work organically, and it's just, we know what has to happen in the scene, and we just make it happen, okay?
My turn. It's Sid's way of saying we don't really give a fuck, we just have fun. We get out there, and contrary to Bill's experience, ours with Rob, which is why we laugh, is set him free. And once we got together, it was just an event. This is a fabulous person to work with. You got energy, he bounces it back to you, and that's the synergy that comes out. It's fabulous being on the set with Sid and then having Rob just, like you said, trying to get him to fall out of his chair. That's our primary objective. Everything else becomes wholly irrelevant. But the end result is something that is unique. It's perfect for the moment, and it carries this strange elliptical vibe that adds an additional power to the film, I think. I enjoyed working with everybody in that movie, and look at the cast. These are phenomenal people to have in your presence and just be on set with. But my deputy sheriff was Walton Goggins. I think this was his 3rd film, and Walton later 2 years later, won an Academy Award for a short that he made. He's now doing Justified and doing a killer job. This is what happens. Somehow Rob pulls amazing people together, puts them in the same room, shakes that bag, and what comes out is magic. There is no way around it. Both those films are phenomenal moments of, for want of a better word, iconic horror that changed the industry, literally changed the industry. It was never the same after these guys got through with it. That's what I'm sure.
Also, it was an example of the 2 biggest heads in show business.
We did film the screen.
Those are some big fucking heads.
Big heads and noses, man. Nose to nose.
We're going to tape Hershey Kisses to our heads and go as Dolly Parton for Halloween.
Wow. Alrighty, we wanted to turn this Q&A over to you, the fans. So who has some questions for the House of 1,000 Corpses?
Hey, what's up, guys? First of all, being the Southern boy that I am, I really appreciated y'all had a character named Rufus. I've probably got like 3 cousins and 2 uncles named Rufus. Also, Sid, how much fried chicken was consumed on set?
You know what? I learned to hate fried chicken. Okay? We had that fucking KFC, that grease on the bone. Oh my God.
That's that black bone chicken.
Yeah. Oh, terrible, terrible. To this day, I don't eat chicken. Yeah. Fried chicken. That's another thing. Stacy Snyder, yeah, was interviewed by the Los Angeles Times, and the reporter asked why Hannibal got a thumbs up and House of a Thousand Corpses got a thumbs down. And she said that, well, that's because we know that Anthony Andrews is not like that. Can I interest y'all in some fried chicken?
She was afraid that the actors in House of a Thousand Corpses were unrecognizable, so that people would actually think we were really like that.
Like that, yeah.
And I actually got in trouble a few months before that interview too, so perhaps that could have had something to do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. We're all miscreants.
Yep. Shit happens.
Dave and I did
Yeah.
a main job.
Yeah.
Right, because the checks didn't clear. Yeah, there were no residuals. We didn't get paid much.
People always ask me what my favorite film is. And it's the one where the check cleared.
Can we get another question out of the audience?
This question is for Bill. I have an obsession with your characters, but don't be afraid.
I'm not afraid.
Okay.
Do I look afraid?
A little. Was it more fun to do batshit crazy like Chop Top or batshit evil like Otis?
Whew. Well, that's a tough question. It's kind of like, which of your kids do you like more? You might have one, but don't tell the others. You know, actually, I found that I always seem to identify more with Chop Top, but that's slowly changed, I'd say. So I kind of like batshit evil more than batshit crazy, because batshit evil seems to come with a little more power. Good question.
When you're on the set, was there any unexpected moments or one of you that was a particular practical joker that was habitual with it? Because I know I love doing it, so I was just wondering if you did too.
I'm just thinking about the trams going by when we would salute the trams, wearing Mr. Willis's skin. That was kind of a practical joke, but...
Practical joke is shooting in the desert at night, wearing a satin clown suit. It will make your nipples hard.
Not just that, but
And the practical joke is where they sew the sandpaper inside the costume.
well, speaking of which, I mean, the bunny costumes, how comfortable were they or not?
The bunny costume was comfortable because it was like pajamas, really, so it was comfortable. What I remember most, though, about that scene and that night, or those nights that we were out there, well, 2 things. One, I'm deathly afraid of snakes, and it was like late at night, and we were out in, a part of California where there's snakes everywhere, and I had to be running through all this tall grass, and I was positive, I was much less afraid of Sherry chasing me than I was that I was going to step on a rattlesnake. And then what I also remember of that night, the bunny costume, was Rob was sick. Do you remember that? He was, and he kept, this is what a badass Rob Zombie is. He kept going off and puking, off to the side, over in the bushes, and then coming back and directing the scene, and then going back and and didn't say we need to stop for the night, or we need to, for I think 3 nights he had this really bad stomach flu as we were shooting it. But no, the costume was more comfortable than hanging from the rafters and having Bill torture us.
We have another question out there? Anybody? No? Nobody wants to know anything else?
Hey guys.
Hey.
Did any of y'all take any props or costumes or anything from the production, like little souvenirs?
I actually did take the baseball cap that I wore in the Cadillac in the last scene.
I have the head. I said I have the mask I wore. Yeah, right here. No, Rob has the mask, I understand, in his living room. Or was, I don't know now where it's at. But he, the minute I finished, he grabbed that mask, he said, no, and he put it in his car. It disappeared.
He's got so much shit in his house, okay, it's like a horror museum.
JC Gibson, the mic.
Houses, they've got the fancy dinner plate rail around the kitchen. In their house, it was full of skulls all the way around. Did you not get that? Okay, all right. The plate rail that goes around the kitchen where you display your fancy plates, at their house, it was full of skulls all the way around. Yeah. Same reaction. You don't give a shit. Okay.
I've actually got 2 quick questions. First of all, how did the whole tiny fuck the stump thing come about?
Okay,
where did that come
all right. Here you go. This is how it came about. We were talking about Tiny, and I called him a mush-mouthed motherfucker or something. And Bill said, well, at least he's stump broke. And Sherry looked at me in all honesty, okay, and innocence, and said, what's stump broke? And I said, well, before you get your first piece of ass, you got to practice on something. And Tiny just couldn't give up the stump. And that's how that whole thing started.
And my other question is for Mr. Keys. Yours is probably the character in the movie we know the least about. Don't have any backstory or anything. Did you guys ever actually come up with a backstory for the character?
What was that?
Did you come up with a backstory for the character? Or did Rob come up with anything to tell you anything about where your character's backstory came from?
What do you mean, with the before?
Yeah, what happened to him, like how to get involved?
Well, you got to understand that mask is huge. The mask, it was so big I couldn't see out of it, and I couldn't see what I was doing to begin with. But I guess being an actor, I knew I had to open the door and walk through, and not run through and clobber the guy. And I just would 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, boom. So I knew that's how I was going to do it. It was a stunt, basically. And I figured out how to do it even wearing this mask. And that's kind of how we did the mask thing. But,
Did he give you any sign of history of your character? Let you know where that character came from?
I was there, it was, people show up in movies, you don't always have a lot of background. They say, you're here, just be here now, and then take it from that point. That's what actors do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think he gave me any direction like that.
Tom?
He just told me what to do.
Yes.
So he directed you? Is that what okay.
With Rob, it's one word. Action. Shut the fuck up. Action. Shut the fuck up. That's good. Action. And occasionally, as Sid said, Cincinnati. It's very esoteric. I mean, Rob he's working on another plane, clearly.
By the way, I consider Tommy Tolles here the original Otis.
Please say that into the mic.
I consider Tommy Tolles, I always defer to him as the original Otis because of his amazing work in Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer. So I'm just borrowing the name. But you're Otis, man. That was a fucked up movie, man. You're crazy. You're the only one. Look at the rest of us. We're all obviously very sane, balanced people. Tommy Tolles, you should be afraid of.
This is my brother.
Can I get a testify there? Oh, that's Repo. Never mind.
We're not working in any cross promos here,
Yeah. Hey, bring it on.
Hey guys. So I'm wondering, just between the differences between House of a Thousand Corpses and The Devil's Rejects, how, you guys were so evil, and the Klan was just so evil in House of a Thousand Corpses, and you go over to Devil's Rejects, and I remember when I went to see it in theater, the audience started applauding when William Forsythe's character, the sheriff, was killed. And was there any sort of direction or anything from Rob Zombie notifying that you guys were going to be taking that drastic of a character change as far as becoming the sympathetic character or characters?
All right. Yeah, I'll tell you the point at which everything changed. He was having problems with one of the scenes. It just wasn't working for him. And that was the scene in the truck, the ice cream scene, okay? And we were in the office, and we were working on the thing, and it's just, nothing was working. And so he said, "Sid, what are you gonna say?" I said, "I don't know. Let's just do it, and then whatever happens, happens," okay? And so they went through the whole, there ain't no ice cream in your future thing and all that business. And I said, "Well, I'm gonna go get me some Tutti fucking Frutti." Fell out of the chair. Okay? And that is the point in the film, I think, that everybody switched sides and started rooting for us, because you sat there and you said, "You know what? My family would argue about ice cream." Okay? And that's when we became a member of your family. I'm sure of that.
Sick bunch of fucks, aren't they? They deserve to die.
Hey, how are you?
We got one in the back here.
Wait, hey, as a doctor, how do you deal with the stigma that comes with violence in media? He's got a goddamn life.
Violence in the media?
Yes, sir.
Anything that we do on screen is just punk shit compared to what happens in real life, okay? And everybody tries to blame the movies, and everybody tries to blame the songs, and all the rest of that shit.
Video game.
Yeah, video games. There's fucked up people in the world, okay? And they will do shit. We're actually mirroring them. They aren't mirroring us.
And we do it with rules too. We have, usually there's some kind of a moral before. There is, and it's over after 90 minutes. And you can pause it if it gets too heavy. But violence in movies is a lot of times is beautifully choreographed. It ends up there's a lot of art in it in terms of the special effects makeup. It's well choreographed. In fact, for Devil's Rejects, our stunt coordinator was Kane Hodder. And I thought, boy, in Devil's Rejects, he did an awesome job. I can't remember who it was. Who was it in House of a Thousand Corpses?
I have absolutely no idea.
Some dude with one leg, and he had kind of half his head was made of, pumice or something, plastic. One of those old stunt guys. It's like he's all like half of him is left.
One too many explosive devices.
Right. He's got a lead foot. He's dragging along. Now do this, and it'll work out. He's got no confidence.
That's the one thing. If you've been in the business as long as some of us have, the first thing you do when you meet a special effects man is count his fingers. If he's got them all there, you're in good shape. I've done films with three-fingered special effects guys, okay?
And if you got a skinny caterer too, that's not a good sign.
Yeah. When you see the caterer going like this, okay, it's over.
So we have time for one more question. Anybody have a question?
Thanks. This is a question for Bill. In this hotel scene in Devil's Rejects, I had heard that you were visibly mortified when you watched the scene where the gun molestation scene. Is there any truth to that, or and for anyone else, were there any scenes you did which, when you saw them finish, you're like, wow, that's kind of disturbing?
Well, that was a disturbing scene because, I don't do that at home. And there wasn't a lot of special effects or rubber. I mean, it was basically me and Priscilla. And, I gotta give her so much credit. Priscilla Barnes, wow, she did such a good job in that scene. And I was, it's scary because, it's like there's nothing between us. It's just basically you gotta go for it, and it's like walking on the tightrope. And God bless Priscilla, because she was way into it, and so it made it easy. It wasn't like I had to worry about her too. She was definitely right there. So and the funny part about it, so the first take was really that was the scary one. Like, oh my God, here we go. What was amazing about that scene too is it's supposed to be Otis is acting out of boredom. So it's not even, you can't even do that kind of, psycho, okay, baby, do all that kind of stuff. It's like, okay, mama, take it off, And anyway, that was, the first take was scary, but then of course in movies you end up doing another 10 takes. You got her point of view, that point of view, the master shot, all these different things. And we just, after doing that first one and kind of walking through the fear, I tell you, each take was different and exciting, and really it was probably, as it turned out, the most satisfying, scene in the movie for me in terms of, as an actor. I remember when I first saw that scene in the script, I was, I handed the script to my girlfriend, and I'm kind of a wuss in that way, and I figured if she read it and stumbled over that scene, I would go, well, I don't know if I can do that, and so I kind of put basically the burden on her. And she read the script and she handed it back to me and she said, it's a great part for an actor. And what that did for me was it reminded me, this isn't me doing this is, an acting job. And that helped, but when it came right down to it, it's heavy shit, man. And, God bless actors. I gotta, give a little plug for actors here because, we play the angels and the devils, and a lot of crappy characters in between. But when we play the angels and the devils, and you feel it in the in the audience, that's actors doing their job, right? So
and God bless the actors for it.
No, vote Democrat. Wait, I don't know.
Well, I do want to thank everybody for coming out. One, to Days of the Dead, and two, for you guys coming here, because obviously that's what it's all about. Shaking hands and getting to meet people face to face. So everybody, would you please give a big round of applause for House of 1000 Corpses. And now we would like to get a big group photo of everybody, so if everybody could get right up here.
And now we're going to sing the Star Spangled Banner.
Exactly.
So, Sid, why don't you lead us?
Ladies first, let's keep her in the middle. Dave, is this the closest you've been to a one in a while, or? Okay. I don't blame you. All the characters saying fuck off, or they want one. I can't tell. All right, most of us know the rest of the words. Again, thanks everybody for coming out to Days of the Dead, and give it up again for House of 1000 Corpses cast.